Fox Sports.
We are the Force. We are Florida.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to South Florida. Some clouds, some rain in the area, but a beautiful day nonetheless, more so for what's going on inside the ballpark tonight. Of course, it is Mother's Day. Major League Baseball celebrating moms around the world, of course. Look at that. That's nice. A couple of Miami Marlin M's around the heart on the pitcher's mound. Lots of pink. And certainly an awful lot of thank yous going around as well, because I certainly speak for myself. I wouldn't be here without my mom. So a happy Mother's Day, Mom. Laura, I know you're watching. Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth with you here inside the broadcast booth, and a happy Mother's Day to all mothers out there as well. So in terms of this ball game, well, the Marlins are looking to even up this four-game set.
Well, and listen, they've had short-term memory this year. They've got to have it again today. This Atlanta Braves team, they've had lots of offense. Freddie Freeman has been doing all sorts of things in this series, but they're going to have to find a way. They've got their guy on the mound in Urania today. I'm excited for this opportunity, but you kind of get back to short-term memory, and when you lose a bunch of games in a row, sometimes you've got to have it, and you got to come out and play your best baseball.
But a tough test in front of them today. The starting pitcher for the Atlanta Braves is Sean Newcomb. He comes in riding 14 consecutive scoreless innings.
Well, Newcomb has been locked in. Good fastball, good changeup. It really has been big against the right-handed hitters. Their man is on the mound today, so that's the challenge facing the Marlins, but hopefully they can drive that pitch count up. They've done it a couple of times this year. I keep thinking back to that Clayton Kershaw start against the Dodgers where they were able to get his pitch count up and him out early. Maybe they can do that today.
3 wins for Newcomb this year, but still none for Jose Urania, although his last 3 starts he has been much better.
Well, is it fair to say that he's had maybe the most impressive start against the Chicago Cubs this week? The Cubs offense is just rolling like crazy, but Urania threw the ball very, very well against him. 2 great starts along with that. He is in a good spot right now. That slider's working. You've seen it. His fastball command has been good. He'll need it today.
So again, Newcomb 14 consecutive scoreless innings for Jose Urania over his last 3. How about a 2.76 ERA? Much, much better. The guy who got the opening day start for the Marlins, looking for win number 1 here in 2018. When we come back, how do you keep this guy in the ballpark? Much more on Freddie Freeman with Craig Minervini and Jeff Nelson on the other side of the break. Well, for sure, pink hats, pink uniforms, pink spikes, pink just about everything at the yard. Let's head out to center field. Craig Minervini and Jeff Nelson.
All right, Sevy, thank you very much. It is Mother's Day, and for the Marlins, they're going to try and figure out an answer to Freddie Freeman somehow. He's 8 for 12 in the series. Mother's Day or no Mother's Day, they can't be very kind to Mr. Freeman today.
No, I got to answer. You walk the guy. You walk the guy every single at bat and pitch to Markakis. Take your chances. I don't know. 372 over his last 19 games. 2 home runs last night. Home run the other night. He's just hitting he's an early count hitter. The thing that I'm thinking right now is you pitch him backwards. You can't stay in a pattern with him. You see right here, this is his second home run off of Garcia last night. You saw nothing but sliders that last at bat. So what is he looking for? I'm going to hit a breaking ball up in his zone. If I don't get it, that was a 3-2 pitch. I'll take my walk. He's just been incredible during this series, during the season actually as well. What I'm saying about pitching him backwards, start him off with off speed, maybe a breaking ball, use that slider, a little change up away, take advantage of some of his aggressiveness early in the count, then try to finish him off with some fastballs. Show him that inside fastball. If he's going to foul it off, he's fouling it off over the first base dugout. But do something. If you get behind, take your chances against Markakis, even though he's having a great year as well.
Freeman hitting a ridiculous .429 with runners in scoring position this season. So coming up here on Mother's Day, the pink bats will be out, the pink chest protector, and great awareness for breast cancer research on this wonderful day around the country. We got baseball coming up.
Is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By WB Mason. Who but WB Mason, the official office supply company of the Miami Marlins. By Chevrolet. See your South Florida dealer today. And by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. Louisville Slugger all over the pink bats. We'll see a bunch of that today. Again, we've got the pink hats. Some pink accents around, whether it be socks or spikes or batting gloves, whatever the case may be. And we've seen a lot of the Braves so far in these first 3 games. This is the lineup for Brian Snitker, a season-high tying 4 home runs in last night's ball game. They have 48 this season. That's tied for 3rd in the National League as Ozzie Albies takes outside, and we are underway in the last of this 4-game series between the first place Atlanta Braves and the Miami Marlins. Albies 3 for 15 with a couple of home runs in this series. Had his 8-game hit streak snapped last night. And he is up against Jose Urena, making his 9th start of the season. And already his 7th here at Marlins Park.
Well, the last 3 have been outstanding. He's gone up against some good competition. The Rockies, the Phillies, and Cubs. Only 5 earned runs in a little over 19 innings of work. 17 Ks, but here's what stands out. Only 2 walks. That's good to see. 2.33 ERA over those 3 starts. You see his numbers on the season. As Paul mentioned, 9th start. He's been good. Keep an eye out for the lefties. It's been a big topic of conversation in this series. Freddie Freeman, Albies, and the like. 287 batting average against, 4 home runs allowed. In fact, all of the home runs have come from lefties. Righties, they've struggled a little bit more. 244, no home runs. Slider, big pitch. Hitters only hitting 143 against that slider this season.
His last 3 have been amazing. Much better than the way that he started the season. Opened the year, first 5 starts, a 5.88 ERA, but a 2.33 ERA over his last 3. And he gets the ground ball here. That's Yadiel Rivera behind the second base bag. And there is 1 away here in the first.
Now, nice play by Rivera. The speedy Albies down the line. All right, let's take a look. The Marlins defensively for this afternoon's ball game, brought to you by Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center. Maven getting the start in left field. Brinson in center. Brian Anderson in right field. Prado, Rivera, Castro, and Rojas over at first base. JT Realmuto behind the plate for Jose Urena.
And now Ronald Acuna Jr. takes a fastball inside. 1-0 to Acuna Jr., who is 2 for 14 in the series. 5 hits in his last 33 at-bats. Urena 6 strikeouts in his last outing against the Chicago Cubs. And slowly but surely has gotten back to straightening things out. Of course, as I mentioned before, got the opening day start for the Miami Marlins this year. And that was because he earned it. It wasn't just because he was the last man standing. He earned it. He was named the opening day starter. About 2 weeks left of spring training. We've seen flashes of what he was last year, and now becoming a lot more consistent in his last 3 starts.
Well, as this Braves lineup starts to get younger, they seem to be getting better. The offense, 270 batting average. It's tops in Major League Baseball right now. 783 OPS, second behind only Boston. The Marlins in a position to even up this series. Talked about it a little bit in the open. You got to have short-term memory. There's been some bad losses over this last week, but Urena on the mound. You've got a chance to go out there, play your game today.
And he gets the strikeout.
Right after him with a good 2-seam fastball. Take another look. Tailing action, arm side. Overpowers Acuna. You see him swing over the top.
And now Freddie Freeman, the exact way you'd like to face this guy, with 2 outs and nobody on base. And on the first pitch, another base hit for Freddie Freeman. He is now 9 for 13 with 3 home runs in this series. And he has reached in 11 of 15 plate appearances.
Well, is it fair to say that might be a small victory right there? A base hit to right field. Well, we've seen the power, including last night, 2 home runs. My goodness gracious. Well, just a measly old line drive base hit to right with 2 outs.
So on again for Nick Markakis. 6 for 14 in the series. He's got a hit in 4 straight games for Atlanta. And he has had hits throughout the season for this club, hitting .346. That's the second best average in the National League. The 53 hits, the most in the NL.
Markakis riding a 4-game hitting streak. .444. He's got 8 hits in those 4 games.
I think we always knew he was good, but are you surprised that he has kind of gotten back to form? I don't recall his first 3 years of this 4-year contract with the Braves being so productive.
No, they haven't, and I think that there's been, hints of, Nick Markakis is a really good player. Maybe he's underappreciated, but his values in the clubhouse, they're going through some transition. A lot of different ways to view it, and I think even back to when they brought Markakis on board, I think there was a lot of people around the game that were really surprised by the move. Now it all makes sense when you start to add it up with the production, where the organization is. His role inside the clubhouse has only grown, and now he's backing it up with power, run production, and fantastic batting average. Obviously, he's having a really, really good season. Does it stand out? Sure it does. But as I said yesterday, earlier in the series, we were picking maybe some of the most underrated players in the game. I picked Nick Markakis. Young man's he's 34 years old. He's got 2,100 hits. He's got an outside chance. I mean, if he can push hard at 3,000, think about that for a second.
That's right.
3,000 hits. Let's just say it's in his future. Is he going to get 3,000 hits and not go to an All-Star game? That's unbelievable, right?
It would be astounding. Here comes a 3-2 pitch. Freeman off, and this one is popped up shallow left. Maben and Rivera. Who's going to take this one?
Oh, my.
Nobody.
Oh,
and
my.
Freeman is going to score. Ball goes to the backstop. Markakis goes to second base, as Maben and Rivera talk about it in shallow left field. It's 1-0 Atlanta.
Wow. Yeah, that is classic miscommunication. You've got a new left fielder in today, a new shortstop in today in Rivera as well. Rojas over at first base. This cannot happen. When you're playing the Atlanta Braves, we've talked about how good they've been offensively. This is a third out to a first inning. Maben is anticipating the catch by Rivera. Rivera is thinking that Maben's coming, and he's not. And sometimes when you think there's communication, there really isn't. I don't see a whole lot being said. And that, in fact, is probably what happened.
So the inning continues for Ender Inciarte.
Well, that's going to go down as a single and an RBI and an E6.
Roof is closed today, and I'd love to say that Maben didn't see that one in the roof, but I don't think that was the case.
I think there was just
I got it.
some
You take it.
I think there was some understanding. I think Maben really just thought that Rivera was camped underneath it and assumed, and then saw that Rivera was panicking, but was really in no place to pick him up, so to speak. That's the way I would break that down. Maben had a long way to go, and I saw him kind of pulling up with the assumption that Rivera was going to make the catch. As you know, on a Major League Baseball field, assume nothing. That is rule number 1.
So this is a situation against the Atlanta Braves. They do not go quietly in innings. They are nearly unstoppable with 2 outs. They got the 2-out base hit from Freddie Freeman. Nick Markakis credited with the base hit that fell into left field. So that's 2 more 2-out hits for the Atlanta Braves. They've scored the most runs in baseball, 105 this year with 2 outs, 6 of them last night. Now up to 150 2-out hits this year.
18 of their 23 runs in the series have come with 2 outs.
So a team that fights and scratches and claws for 3 can't really give them 4. That is what the Marlins have done here in the first inning.
Well, the Atlanta Braves 23-15, 1 game ahead of the Phillies in the National League East. 15 road wins. It's tops in the National League along with Colorado. They're 16-8 against the National League East. Best record by far.
And no swing.
Well, everything went except the bat. See Inciarte kind of spin around, get a little weight transfer to the front side and start to rotate, but able to keep his hands back.
2-2 with Markakis off of second. This one will reach the seats.
lot of things happen to an inning when you have an error, some miscommunication. Of course, the Atlanta Braves are now on the scoreboard. They're up 1-0. But you watch Ureña's pitch count. Inciarte grinding him out right now. This will be the 27th pitch this inning for Ureña.
There will be more. The count runs full. Piece. 2-2 the count. Now 3-2 to Inciarte. Inciarte 5 for 12 with a home run in this series. 7 hits in 16 at-bats after an 0 for 19 that matched a career long. On a hop to Castro. And the inning is over. But a misplay in left leads to a run for Atlanta. Hollinsworth back with you. A very happy Mother's Day to all. Here is the lineup for the Marlins. A bit of a different look today. Cameron Maybin at the top of the lineup. JT Realmuto, who has been so good in the leadoff spot, but Don Mattingly wanted to get him into a spot where he could be on, or at the plate rather, with more guys on base, so he is in the third spot. That moves Starlin Castro down to the cleanup hole, and he does that with Justin Bour out of the lineup today. So again, a bit of shuffling today, trying to make something happen against Sean Newcomb, who comes in making his 8th start of the season, riding a 14 consecutive scoreless inning streak. And his first pitch of the afternoon to Cameron Maybin is in there for a called strike.
Well, Newcomb's been dominant. Saw the record, 3-1, 2.88 ERA. There's one thing that stood out to me on his season. How about this? 40 2/3 innings. He's allowed 31 hits. Only 9 have gone for extra bases. That tells you how his stuff plays. 6 doubles, 3 home runs.
And Maybin is retired. 1 up and 1 down against Newcomb.
Now you got to look at his big breaking ball right there. All right, let's give you the AutoNation scouting report. May Flowers, no doubt about it, 2-0. 0 ERA, 2 May starts, 13 innings, 4 hits, no earned runs, 4 walks, 14 Ks. How about a whip of .62? His earned run average in April, though, .432. So keep that in mind. Road Warrior here has been outstanding on the road. 1.78 ERA, 37 strikeouts in 30 innings. And you say, all right, so this guy's throwing the ball great. Maybe the best in the Braves rotation. So what's changed? That's a good question, Paul. I'm going to answer it for you right now. Exactly that. His changeup 2017, Newcomb's third best pitch would have been his changeup. Didn't use it too much. Here's why. Hitters hit .413 against it. Well, how about some improvement in 2018? .273. That's very respectable, but he's now able to use that changeup, and in fact is using it more than his breaking ball. So his changeup has truly become his equalizer, if you will. It's paying great dividends. As you've seen, four-seam fastball. He's a big guy. 93 miles an hour on the fastball. That changeup uses it about 18% of the time. The curveball, 15%.
2-1 to Martin Prado. Shoots one to right field. Foul. And Prado just throws his hands up like, what do I have to do?
Well, you certainly want to change the fate. Right now, it certainly feels that way with the Marlins. A few things not going their way, not creating opportunities with Martin. And he certainly tell you, he got off that lengthy road trip. He's not necessarily going his way. Swinging the bat much better. 3 for 12 on the homestand. Had a couple hits in game one. He's finding that barrel a lot more often.
This one popped up, shallow right, falling fast, but Markakis is there, and there are two away.
Let's line up the Braves defensively for you at home. Brought to you by Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Centers. Cunha Jr. gets the start in left field, Inciarte in center, Markakis in right. Flaherty gets the start at third base. Camargo, Albies, Freeman, Suzuki back behind home plate. Flowers got the start last night for Sean Newcomb.
Great start for Brian Snitker and his Atlanta Braves. They have won 4 of 5 overall, 9 of 13, and 8 of 9 on the road. As JT Realmuto takes a called strike. Big series for Realmuto. A home run, couple of RBIs. He was 1 for 5 last night. And again, back into the number 3 spot in this lineup. He has certainly thrived at the top of the lineup. But a situation, of course, in the National League, pitchers hitting obviously right in front of him, not always a bunch of guys on base. So Don Mattingly put him in the number 3 spot today in hopes of getting him into more RBI situations. And this guy has really, truly done nothing but come through for this club since coming off the disabled list while the team was in New York. Hitting .317, 5 home runs, 10 RBIs. Suzuki asks for it up and gets what he wants. A couple of strikeouts in the inning for Newcomb. 3 up, 3 down, 1 up. Hollingsworth, glad you are with us on this Sunday afternoon. Very happy Mother's Day all over. as it is a 1-0 deficit for the Marlins as we go to the top of the second. Oh, look at that. Cassie's here. Happy Mother's Day to Cassie. Hi. All those fun little promos that I read, she cooks them up, hands them right over. Read this, please. Got it. Sometimes I don't know what I'm doing and I ignore her for a couple of minutes.
And then you realize that she knows what you're doing better than you know what you're doing.
Well, I mean, that goes without. You know what I'm doing better than I know what I'm doing. Easily, I am the least qualified person in the booth right now.
She's the mother hen.
Absolutely. Kurt Suzuki, Ryan Flaherty, Johan Camargo due up here in the top of the second inning. Good start to the season for Kurt Suzuki. 5 home runs in that column already.
Then you go back to the Markakis pop-up last inning. Talk about number of pitches. Urania now enters this inning, as you see. There was 9 extra pitches that he ended up having to throw in the first.
Well, that's the thing. People always. Now, that was a different scenario because that ball that fell in led to a run. But there are times when there are misplays and people say, oh, that's okay. No damage done afterwards. No, no, no. There's still 3, 4, 5, 10 pitches thrown. And then it's up to the pitcher to get himself out of the further damage.
Right. Changes the course of the game. Significant impact. No doubt about it. Next thing you know, Urania's got a runner on second base, 1 run in, and he's got to make pitches to a hot hitter in Inciarte.
There, Kelly Sacco ready for anything. She's got the glove down there. You would have had that one, right? I think she would have. Tracking it the whole way.
I am not joking with these line drives that come off the bat in this lefty lineup as well too, and he really turned on that one. So I've got my glove. I'm ready to go. I hope I don't have to use it.
Called strike 3. Suzuki is retired, and there is 1 out.
Now Beer Fest is coming. Come join us at the Clevelander at Marlins Park on Saturday, May 26th. Sample more than 20 different domestic and international brews. Tickets start at just $30 when the Marlins take on the Nationals. Plus, you'll get early access to the party at the Clevelander here at Marlins Park. Purchase your tickets at marlins.com/beerfest.
0-1 to Ryan Flaherty. 2 for 7 in this series. Back at third base today. Has settled into a utility role for the Atlanta Braves. Splitting time with Jose Bautista, who they signed about a month ago to a minor league contract. But it's Flaherty getting the nod today. Well, since 2013, when did Chipper retire? How many third basemen have the Atlanta Braves had to use?
Yeah, it's right after he retired in 2012. There you go. Yeah, hard to replace a Hall of Famer, isn't it?
I suppose so, yeah. And a guy who plays every day because he's a switch hitter. So he's out there just about every day.
Right.
Waved at and missed. 2 strikeouts in the inning, 3 in the game, and there are 2 outs.
Yeah, fantastic changeup. Talk about Urania. We really love to rant and rave about the secondary pitches. Well, I do anyway. Love the changeup to the left-handed hitters, the sliders to the righties. A little firmer changeup than most, 89, 90 miles an hour, but effective. It's got some run to it this season as well.
Strike to Johan Camargo. 2 for 9 in the series for the Atlanta Braves. Getting a lot of playing time at shortstop right now with the injury to Dansby Swanson. Swanson with a wrist injury. Some inflammation there. May be out of action until the end of the month. I had heard a few days ago, maybe next week sometime when the Marlins face the Braves, but at last check, it sounds like maybe the end of the month. Grounded to Castro. A couple of strikeouts and a ground out. 3 up, 3 down. Urania sets down the Braves. Braves as we go to the bottom of the second inning. How about this? Orestes Destrada, this day in Marlins history, 4 for 4 against Montreal. 4th 4-hit game in the first 34. And you love those glasses.
I do. Those are my favorite. I like Orestes Destrada, I got to tell you. He was kind of just ahead of me. I was in pro ball. I was in the minor leagues, but I loved me some Orestes Destrada. I'll tell you what. Even from a distance, I was on the West Coast. I was in the Dodger organization. I love those gold rim glasses. I really did. He's a good hitter.
Nice grab down the right field line by a fan in the front row. A souvenir from Starlin Castro, who will lead off. Brian Anderson, Lewis Brinson to follow. Yeah, with those glasses, Destrada was kind of Eric Sogard before Eric Sogard.
That's right. He made him hip. Doubt about it. Well, Castro in the 4th spot today. Last started in the cleanup spot. I think it was a long time ago. No, he's been there pretty recently, September 8th of 2017 with the Yankees.
Castro 2 for 5 last night. A home run, 2 RBIs. 3 runs scored, 3 for 13 in the series. His first homer at home as a Marlin in this series after connecting on home run number 100 while the team was in Cincinnati on the road trip. Clearly okay after last night. There was an at-bat late in the ball game where he kind of had a check swing, moved out of the way of a pitch that was kind of boring in on him. And a funky little check swing, but okay to start today as he grounds out to short for the first out of the second. This is what I was talking about last night. 9th inning, you just kind of try to get out of the way of it, and you see something maybe grab a little bit.
We call that a tweak in baseball terminology, but good enough to go today. Good to see. Certainly a big part of the offense for the Marlins.
And now Brian Anderson. Castro has started all but 1 game this year for the Marlins. Anderson 1 for 4 last night, a double and RBI. He's also picked up a stolen base in this series. He now has 2 on the year. There was some good-natured ribbing around the cage the other day about that second stolen base. I think he surprised everybody. Marlins included.
One thing you learn about Brian Anderson is he is as prepared a young player as any I've ever really seen. I mean, he knows scouting reports. He knows what to think about. We talked about it a little bit. Stealing bases on the Atlanta Braves. I wouldn't put it past him. Obviously, I haven't had a discussion with him about it. I'll try and ask him on Tuesday. But the idea is this. We talked about it. There's a real good opportunity there. Braves catchers have only thrown out 4 base runners all season. Get a good jump and get going. He did.
And this one is ripped to left field. That one is going to get down and one hop the wall. Acuna Jr. will fire it in. A double with one out here in the second for Brian Anderson.
Doubles have been his thing lately. 10th double on the season. Great swing. Gets a fastball, 93 miles an hour. Pulls the front hands in as that ball is working its way to the inner third. Nice job. Good swing. Levels off. Drives it off the left field wall.
He's now reached base safely in 10 consecutive games, extending a career best streak. And here's Lewis Brinson. Brinson 1 for 4 last night. Has a career-long 5-game hit streak going. Tap foul at the plate, a ball and a strike. In fact, he has a hit in 8 of his last 9 games here at Marlins Park. Home run, 4 RBIs, 267 average in that span as well. He bats with Anderson away from second base. Well, you mentioned the velocity of Newcomb. It's in the low to mid 90s. Does it seem to jump out of his hand a little bit more?
I think he hides the ball well is what he does, and we've seen some awkward swings early. We talked about the changeup being a big pitch for him. I also think that complements him well. Helps his fastball to play up a bit.
This one tap back to the mound. It's going to move Anderson to third. And there are 2 outs.
Starts rather straight up. You see that leg tuck. Nice leg tuck. Keeps that front shoulder closed. Gets over the top. Good mechanics. He's a strong young man who's got a powerful arm. And that big curveball, as you see there, 12-6, top to bottom. As a hitter, you see that out of hand. That's almost above your eyes, especially off the mound.
Here is Miguel Rojas now. The game tying run at third base. 2 for 4 last night with a double for Rojas. 5 for 12 in the series. And over at first base today to give Justin Bour the day off.
Well, he's been very productive against the Braves over his last 6 games, hitting up near 500. 11 for his last 23.
The third foul.
Let's take a look at some of the offense from Miguel Rojas this week. It's been fantastic. We talked about it. Started out in Chicago, and what was so interesting about that game is that he had really been struggling going into that game. Saw the home run, number 5, and there's some good at bats. We show you these highlights. You see he's using the field. Both of these base hits to right field. The home run, obviously, the other base hit to left. And there's a look at the changeup I've been talking about. He throws about 87, 88 miles an hour, so it's a little firmer. Doesn't have nearly as much separation. Here's a good look, kind of like a claw. Not really a circle change. Really gets that pinky on the ball as well.
such an effective pitch for Newcomb as of late. Last year he was a fastball curveball guy.
Right. And he used the changeup. He just, I mean, again, what ended up happening, you know, he brought it to the big leagues with him. There's a good look at the grip. You see how that middle finger's right in the middle of the baseball, and then he's got the other two fingers kind of surrounding it, and the pinky on the side. It's not a circle change. It's more almost like a claw grip is the best way to describe it. It's like pick up a baseball like a 5-year-old would pick it up because the ball's too big in their hand, and throw it. And it proves effective. It's got some downward tilt, but he trusts it now, and I think that's really what it gets to. Last year, good fastball, good curveball, changeup, and as the season wore on, he had 100 innings at the big league level. I mean, this changeup's getting beat around the yard. He stopped throwing it. Now all of a sudden it's back, and now it's moved itself in front of the curveball. He actually trusts it more than the breaking pitch.
Takes some off there and strikes out Rojas. So the scoreless streak continues. Up to 16 innings for Newcomb. Marlins down 1-0.
Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers in my life and everyone else's life. Thank you, Mom, for taking me all the practices and tournaments and all that. So happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom. Just wanted to say thank you for everything you've done for me and my brothers. It's much appreciated. Love you.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom. Miss you, love you. Thank you for everything you did. Thank you for letting me be the man I am today. Happy Mother's Day, love you.
Top of the third here at Marlins Park. Braves still lead the Marlins 1-0. Well, you saw the guys wishing their mothers happy Mother's Day, so I wanted to do the same. This is my mom, guys, and much like, thank you, Mommy, much like all the professional athletes, my mom was the one who always took me to practice and to all my games, and if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have been able to get my softball scholarship to Syracuse, earn my degree, and be here with you guys back at home in Miami. So, Mom, I love you. Happy Mother's Day. And, guys, she still comes to all my games here at Marlins Park. How cool is that?
That's awesome. That's great. See, that's much better than any card, any flowers, any chocolates.
Right?
You know, we have that kind of benefit to what we do here. Newcomb, foul ball. Yeah, I mean, I was able to say Happy Mother's Day to my mom on TV today. I sent her a card, too, don't worry. She refused all other gifts. True story.
Well, she's watching.
She wanted nothing else. Please, nothing.
Certainly take a moment to wish all the mothers out there a happy Mother's Day. This is a big, big day, and I certainly know for my wife Marcy, I think Mother's Day should probably be celebrated a little bit more than just one day a year.
Weekly?
Well,
Absolutely.
tell you what,
Absolutely.
I know from in my house, my better half makes our world go round.
You know who that is? That's our director Christian's mom, right there.
Well done.
And it's Diane.
Happy Mother's Day.
She's looking to make sure everything's in order. That's where Christian gets it from.
She's looking up here.
That's right. A ground ball to second base. Albies is retired.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, especially, you know, those of us in this business, you know, you talk about Marcy, my wife Heather, she's here right now. I mean, they pick up a lot of slack while we're out, you know,
chasing
watching
these guys
baseball
around
games every day.
That's right. A little army of 4 versus got a year's worth of work, no doubt about it. I am very appreciative of that. My mom in Northern California, happy Mother's Day as well.
Strikeout of Newcomb, a ground ball for Albies, and now Ronald Acuna Jr., who struck out back in the first inning. One of 4 strikeouts today for Jose Urena.
So far, so good. The team has been good for Urena today. A ball on the ground. When it's not on the ground, it's been some weak contact in the air for the most part, and a few strikeouts sprinkled in. You add it all up, it's good to see. Of course, we're only in the 3rd inning and second time through, but a good sign. He needed a big start from him today.
Well, it's only a 1-0 deficit, and there is a lot of baseball left. But as we mentioned off the top, Urena is still looking for his first win in 2018. Part of the problem has been the run support, or the lack thereof, averaging less than 3 runs a game in his starts, as he issues the walk, first of the day, to Acuna Jr. He's at 298. Alex Wood of the Dodgers getting less than 2.5 runs.
We're going to see him in a couple days. In fact, I believe he's starting on Tuesday.
Dodgers in town for 3 before another matchup against the Braves in Atlanta.
All right, let's throw some knowledge your way. We know Freddie Freeman's having a big series. Most hits in a 4-game series for Freddie Freeman. He's done it twice. Did it against the Reds in 2016 and against the Pirates in 2011. He's got 9, as I just mentioned. Now, 4-hit games versus the Marlins in their history. Remember, it's growing. 25 years. There's been a few. In fact, 5 individuals. Jack Wilson, Brian Jordan, Fred McGriff, Mariano Duncan. How about that name? Mike Lansing as well. A Brave on there. Fred McGriff had 10. So he's in position, and I think it certainly brings some perspective to where Freddie Freeman is right now. And as I was going through my notes last night, realize this, if we haven't all realized it yet, the best first baseman in baseball. I just stop now.
Better than Votto?
All of them. Well, statistically speaking, I mean, listen, everybody's got their opinion.
Right.
You know, I mean, we can go down that, and we can talk homers and power, but when you add it all up, and I love OPS, it's one of my favorites. It's the combination of on-base percentage and slugging percentage. I feel like it tells a pretty good story of what's going on. He's at the top of the list, and by a wide margin.
Draws the walk, back-to-back walks issued by Urena. And wouldn't you know it, the Braves have something cooking here with 2 outs.
Came into today's ball game with an OPS of 1,024.
I only got as far as Votto on the list, but the point being is that it's a deep position.
Usually, typically, it's been a little bit down this year, which I mean I get. I mean Goldschmidt's having a rough start to his season. A few names we just saw. Anthony Rizzo obviously having a rough start as well. So it's shortened. That gap's a little different this year, but all in all, Freddie Freeman has not missed a beat right where he usually is.
Nick Markakis is a .317 hitter this year with runners in scoring position. He's got Freeman on first and Acuna Jr. at second.
And I think what's so interesting about this series so far, Paul, is that the Marlins have actually been pretty decent against the Braves with runners in scoring position. They've actually made some pitches. There's only been one real problem. Last night, 1 for 7, 4 home runs. Well, that kind of gets, you know, obviously not part of the runners in scoring position conversation, and that's kind of been the tale of this series. 6 for 22. So, you know, I mean, it's, I suppose, you know, below 300. But the point is that you'd think that the way that the offense is going right now for the Braves, that they're, you know, punching out 10, 15 hits in this series. That's just not the case. But they have hit 7 homers.
They have hit the 7 home runs, and again, as we mentioned before, Brian Snitker's Atlanta Braves are a tough team to kill in an inning. when they get to 2 outs, it's not like they're good.
Well,
right? Like that, it's an all-star level of where they're at with 2 outs.
I agree.
And that's as a team. It's not like, I'm gonna check at second. You know, it's not like it's always one guy. And it's, oh, let's just say it's Freddie Freeman. He's a 400 hitter with 2 outs, and it's always him. It's everybody.
Well, these are the 2 top teams right there, the Chicago Cubs and Atlanta Braves in the National League offensively. The Cubs have been on fire. I was looking at some run differential. Well, just last night, in fact, the Cubs are only 1 run ahead of the Atlanta Braves. Cubs at plus 56. Braves at plus 55.
And Markakis out to left field. It's going to stay up for Maben, who has to deal with the lights. Takes a deep breath. Able to make the sliding catch in left center field. Everyone can say thanks to Mom. Time for our Toyota Inside Look. The Braves, the Marlins, in a 4-game series, right? Breaking it down by that particular qualifier. This is a 4-game series here. The Braves, 15-7 with 8 splits. And series here, the Marlins win them 1 time. 4-3 with 5 splits. There has not been a 4-game sweep in the series since 2006, and there will not be one this time around either, as Marlins are hoping to pick up a split of this 4-game set. Yadiel Rivera, Jose Urena, Cameron Maben due up here in the bottom of the 3rd inning against Sean Newcomb, who has 3 strikeouts, got 2 of them in the 1st inning, worked around a 1-out double to Brian Anderson in the 2nd. Has gone 16 consecutive innings without giving up a run. It's upstairs to Rivera. With the lineup shuffled today, Rivera, who has been predominantly a bench player for the club, a terrific defender, is out there at shortstop today, with Rojas over at first and Bohr the day off. Works the count full against Newcomb. Fouled off the padding right behind home plate, goes all the way back out to Newcomb.
Nice job pulling his hands in. That was a tough pitch. He was thinking away, able to defend the inner half.
Can you indulge me for a second, please? That foul ball went all the way back to Newcomb. He didn't even think about using it again. right? Like, we're in a day and age where the ball gets used for one. That's it. Why?
End up in batting practice. Well, there's an advantage to be gained. I'm not sure if this generation of pitchers, and I don't mean this to sound, this isn't a knock against them. It's just a nice take there on ball 4. Good at bat. The ball gets scuffed. You put it in the hands. Some people know how to use it that way.
Right.
You'll see a little bit more sink, a little bit more depth. It hits a shin guard. It happens. It bounces off something. There's an advantage to be gained. Here's the thing: if Newcomb doesn't throw it out, Rivera should be the next one to speak up. Get that ball out of here, Whether there's a blemish on it, but that's it. That's the way it works.
All right. He's on first for Jose Urania. Let's check in with Craig Minervini.
Thanks, Paul. Yeah, Newcomb used to having a football in his hands, and Urania tries to bunt here. He considered playing college football. He was a defensive end and tight end. He's from the Northeast, so he talked about, his years in high school, a lot of snow. You're in the gym to start out. Baseball, much different than obviously in our climate down here. And only one Division I team looked at him, and that was the University of Hartford. It's the only place he visited. He had a 0.48 ERA as a senior, but that's the spot he wound up going. The Cubs, the brief interest in him, and he even had a bout of mono that knocked him out of the Cape Cod League. It worked out for him there. He had over 200 strikeouts at the University of Hartford, only pitcher ever to do that. And only 2 other players have ever made it to the majors. A guy named Earl Snyder in the early 2000s and Jeff Bagwell, who had an outstanding major league career out of the Hawks land there in Hartford, guys.
That's right. My old stomping grounds. Not the University of Hartford, but Connecticut. Jeff Bagwell out of Connecticut in the Hall of Fame now after a terrific career with the Houston Astros. 0-2 to Urania, as Flaherty in at third has gotten right into his kitchen. He charges again, and Urania fouls it back. He strikes out for the first out here in the third. And that is 4 for Newcomb. Already surpassing. Check that, he had 6 in his last start. Career best 9. Cameron Mabe sporting those. As Maben drills one out to right field, Markakis way back at the wall will make the catch. And back to first goes Rivera.
Well, great swing of the bat by Maben. Long drive. This is where Marlin Park gets you. This is frustrating, I know, for some hitters. This is a well-struck baseball. It does a nice job staying on it, driving it the other way. Maybe a little too much air time, but most ballparks this carries out. Well, here it's a deep fly ball. He's still a couple of feet away from the wall.
Well, even Maben's outs have been loud in recent weeks. Martin Prado takes low. Prado flew out to Markakis back in the first inning. Rivera with the first walk of the afternoon issued by Newcomb over at first. They try to keep him close. So with the walk to Rivera, that is the first walk of the afternoon. Newcomb has walked at least one batter in each of his first 21 career games since the Braves moved to Atlanta in 1966. Only 2 other pitchers opened their careers with longer streaks with at least one walk. Pete Smith, 29 games, and Tom Glavine, who ended up in Cooperstown, 27 games. Marlin's trying to do something with that walk now. The leadoff walk, but Urania strikeout with a 2-strike bunt attempt. And then Maben a long fly ball out to right field. So it's up to Prado to keep this inning alive. thoughts of putting Rivera in motion on 3-1 with 2 outs?
No, we're still a pitch away from automatic motion. I doubt that you'll see him running here. Newcomb has the ability to gain the swing and miss.
Back-to-back walks. Check that, 2 in the inning at least.
A good opportunity. One of the Marlins' hottest hitters in JT Realmuto.
This is the situation that Don Mattingly was hoping for in moving Realmuto down from 1 to 3. Get one of their best, one of their hottest hitters up with men on base. For 14 with runners in scoring position this year for Realmuto, and he takes outside.
Well, JT game plans well. One thing he's done so well this season, don't worry about that 2 for 14. What I'm getting at here is making an adjustment from an at-bat to an at-bat. He knows how he has been pitched, what the Braves have been doing, and what Newcomb did his first at-bat. Now he's gotten himself in a good spot here, 2-0.
3 walks in his last start, 1 in the start against the New York Mets, but at least 3 in his previous 3 starts. He has 2 walks in this inning, and relatively speaking has lost the plate here in the 3rd. Two and 0 now to Realmuto. There's a strike.
Yeah, borderline strike. Good take by JT. He's not going to do much with that. So look, kind of a little glance back. It's just off the outside corner. Attacks that. He's not going to get the type of contact he wants.
And now a 2-1 pitch. Swung on and missed. Maybe tipped into the glove of Suzuki, but 2 balls, 2 strikes nonetheless.
Four-seam fastball. It's the same spot. A bit more over the plate.
Chop to 3rd. Flaherty will step on the bag, and that will end the inning. A couple of walks for Newcomb. It leaves him on base, 1-0. A 1-0 lead against Jose Urena and the Miami Marlins as these 2 teams wrap up this 4-game set. Here now, a look at our Chevrolet Prospect Spotlight. Let's go down to A-ball. Check in with the Greensboro Grasshoppers. Their left fielder Johnny Santos has a 9-game hit streak, hitting .353 in that span, a home run A trio of doubles, 5 ribbies. He started the season 0 for 14, but I think it's fair to say he has straightened himself out on a 9-game run for the Grasshoppers. Your minor league spotlight presented by Chevrolet.
Love it. Some urgency, getting it done. Sure, he's been working hard behind the scenes.
And Ciarte swings at the first pitch, sends it out to Brinson, and 1 quick out here in the 4th.
So you'd mentioned, it was about an inning ago, Paul, you'd asked me about, you know, the ball hits the dirt and we throw all these balls away, and like, you know, it's just like I think you were getting at that, but that's expensive.
Yeah, it's a waste of baseball. They're perfectly fine, aren't they?
Okay, well, listen, so it was brought to my attention by a couple of very knowledgeable people who did what I did on the other side of things, and they said, listen, I know you talk about like what the hitters, my perspective, I told you scuff, right? Pitchers scuff, so I'm thinking pitchers are gaining some advantage by the ball hitting the dirt. Okay, well, it was brought to my attention by somebody who knows on the flip side of this that said at the same time when the ball hits the dirt, a lot of times it leaves a red mark on the baseball, and if you foul off a ball, like say with a black bat, it'll leave a mark, thus easier to pick up spin.
So it's the clay.
Well, the clay would be the dirt, obviously.
Right,
You've got the mark, you know, from the bats. But again, from his perspective, seeing it like the hitter is gaining an advantage, so throw that ball out too.
Interesting.
Cat and mouse, man, back and forth. You know, we always have to play nice, but a lot of times we, you know, they got to do what they've got to do to get us in. We're doing the exact same thing, trying to gain any advantage we can. So, new ball every time.
0-2 to Kurt Suzuki. Shoots one down the right field line, and that one slices into the seats. 0-2. So we welcome you inside our broadcast booth. Paul Severino, Todd Hollandsworth. Again, a very happy Mother's Day to all out there celebrating. We are glad you're spending some of that day with us, and certainly hoping that the Marlins can get back in this ballgame. Down just a run right now, but get the offense moving against the Braves.
Well, they've been able to get a few runners against Newcomb. We knew he was hot coming in. You think how this game has gone. Urania has lived up to the billing. We told you how good he's been over the last couple of starts. They needed him to be great today against this hot Atlanta Braves team, and he has been. Again, they won a run. Essentially unearned. I know it's not, but you know what I'm talking about. This is a game they can win. They're right there, and it's certainly what you want to do here at Marlins Park. They've done this a little bit more here than they have on the road, so an opportunity to try to find a way to win a game today by getting that offense going.
Well, Don Mattingly said in Urania's last start, which was against the Chicago Cubs, that he left the ball up a lot. Are you seeing that he's been a little bit better today?
He has been a little bit better down in the zone. There's no doubt about it. I really love his aggressiveness. He's a fearless individual, and I think that means so much to this rotation right now with where they're at and where this journey has started and where I think it's going. He's the one guy in this rotation, along with Caleb Smith, that just bold, pitch with conviction, go after hitters despite what the story is, you know, that you know going in.
Well, he gets the ground ball there, so 2 up and 2 down. As Starlin Castro was on the shortstop side of the second base bag to make the play. They had him played perfectly. And now Ryan Flaherty gets a piece of that. Fouls it back. Flaherty struck out back in the second inning. 4 strikeouts on the afternoon for Jose Urania. 7th home start in 9 overall for Urania. Of course, being in this division, has faced the Atlanta Braves quite a bit in his career. As Castro makes the play. So a 1-2-3 inning. I'll tell you more about those improving numbers against the Braves when we return to the bottom of the 4th here at Marlins Park. by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. The Cleveland Clinic, stiff joints, aches and pains. Trust Cleveland Clinic, Florida, the #1 orthopedic care in Florida. And by the Lincoln Spring Sales Event, drive into spring in a new Lincoln. Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth. Marlins looking for a split of this 4-game series against the first place Atlanta Braves, as that one is in the dirt to Starlin Castro. Castro, Anderson, and Brinson due up for the Marlins here against Sean Newcomb, who has struck out 4 to this point. A couple of walks. Just the 1 hit, a double for Brian Anderson. That one all the way to the backstop. 2-0. Well, after the another look here at this one that just got away. The one that got away. Here's the 2-0 now. After the Braves leave town, an off day tomorrow, and then the Dodgers are in for a 3-game series. What is going on with the Dodgers right now? I know they're not at 100%.
Offense has been down. The one thing that stands out to me, I bet you're probably going to see, of course I haven't been able to dive into the Dodgers quite yet, but I think just thinking ahead, knowing what we saw a few weeks ago, and certainly the story over the last few weeks, their offense is not nearly where it's been in years past, and the pitching is probably a step back.
Flaherty pirouettes, and Freeman just does his best to keep it in front. Castro will reach. See how they score that one, but either way, that's going to be an E5, but either way, Castro is on.
Well, everything fundamentally correct up until the throw from Flaherty. Nice job, high hop. As you mentioned, pirouette around and get himself into position. A lot of times you have a lot of momentum, but he seems to stabilize his base right there, make a strong throw across the diamond. It's got velocity on it, it's just buried. Held on to it a little too long.
Do you think that he may have thrown that low in the dirt on purpose because of the way that his momentum was taking him, as a way to almost control the throw?
No, he would have just hit him with a firm strike across the diamond. Everything about this, he still had a second. I mean, Starlin's fast, but he's not that fast. Ideally, he just wanted to hit him with a bullet right in the chest.
Outside to Anderson, who has the lone hit for the Marlins today, a double to left field back in the 2nd inning. Well, again, we don't have to go a deep dive here on the Dodgers. I know before either one of us really sink our teeth into it during the off day, but the bottom line is the Cincinnati Reds have, one of the worst records in baseball. The Dodgers, at least on paper, one of the favorites in 2018, and the Reds have won the first 3 games of that series.
Marlins messed them up a couple weeks ago when they went into LA. I'm telling you.
Seems like it.
They did not play very crisp baseball. Sometimes you fall into a pattern and it can maintain itself.
Right to short, and a double play. Boy, how many of those have we seen turned by the Braves in this series?
Well, they're one of the best in Major League Baseball at turning double plays. One hopper, Margot, quick flip to Albies, back across the diamond. Double plays get turned when the ball is hit hard. It only makes it that much easier.
It's got to be a half a dozen or more double plays turned by the Braves in this series. There's Lewis Brinson. Brinson out to center field. Inciarte coming in, closing fast. And with the help of the double play, 3 up and 3 down in the 4th.
about his mom, Mary.
You know, I think about my mom is just that always there. You know, stay-at-home mom. Anytime you're at the house, you know, meals and just around all the time. So, you know, my dad worked nights, so sleeping some during the day, but just a lot. Mom always kind of there when you come home from practice or, you know, meal on the table, and anything you do, you come home and mom's there.
Don was the youngest in his family as that grounder goes over to first base. His mother passed away a few years ago. But all of our memories of mom, whether still with us or not, guys, the rock of the family. And Don enjoyed talking about Mary today.
Yeah, no question about it. As there is one out here in the top of the fifth inning. I know you come from a bigger family than I. I'm an only child, so I was, you know, the sole focus at home. But it was kind of it. But when there are multiple kids in the house, that means a lot of different events, whether it's dance recitals or ball games or whatever.
Availability. And I was sitting there listening to it, and I have a very high appreciation for exactly what Don Mattingly was talking about, thinking of my own mother, thinking about my wife Marcy, and the availability. And that's just the key. It's, you know, you're raising kids and you're raising your family, and being available. That's much harder in today's world. Wow.
Bare-handed by Castro.
How about that?
To retire Newcomb.
Beautiful, beautiful play by Starlin Castro. Nicely done. Bare hand. One step and a toss. It's your fresh catch of the day. Goldfish grill. Why not? Beautiful play. Second out of the inning.
And when you have a bonefish fresh catch of the day like that, that's like no net, no rod. That's just putting your hand right in the water, grabbing the fish. That's it. Excellent play by Starlin Castro. And back to the top of the order for Ozzie Albies. Albies 0 for 2 in this one, 3 for 17 in the series. Dribbler in front. Real Muto gets to it, and a quick fifth inning for Urania. We are halfway through this Mother's Day special at Marlins Park. Marlins down a run.
Why not? He is so good at this. Like a cat out from behind home plate. Mask off. Quick throw. Albies on the run. Great job, JT Realmuto, once again. I've seen this play a million times. It's the first this year that I've really seen him get out from behind home plate. Look how much ground he covers. Jose Urania in the vicinity, but JT in a better position to make the play. The other thing I want to mention here is Urania, who ranted and raved how good he's been over his last 3 starts. I love the strikeouts. Who doesn't, right? In the day that we play with high velocity and lots of strikeouts right now. Guys are 14, 15 a game, it seems like. Urania's been very good over his last few starts because of the groundouts. And today, as we just saw, the 9th, that last inning, all 3 outs on the ground. So good stuff from Urania.
He's at 83 pitches, 49 for strikes to this point, through 5 innings of work. The 2-0 to Miguel Rojas is off the edge. 3 balls and no strikes. Rojas, Rivera, and Urania due up here in the bottom of the 5th inning. The other thing, going back to that Real Muto play, that I've heard infielders, catchers talk about, when that ball is rolling like that, the best thing to do is just kind of put your hand on it, push it into the ground. It's the best way to get a grip on it to make the play.
With an open hand. Yeah, don't try to grab it like you'll throw it. Try to grab it like you're picking up a baseball. Use all your fingers. Don't go in there and just try to grab 2 and thumb. That's not going to work. But here's the other thing. JT gets out from behind home plate. It's an easier play from him because he gets into the flow. Gets into the flow of the play. His momentum's actually taking him towards first base.
The other catcher, Kurt Suzuki, by the railing. It's probably just a situation of not knowing the surroundings, because he had maybe one more step, may have been able to make the catch. So let's see if Rojas is able to capitalize. In a sense, yes. He draws the walk. And now a message from FPL.
FPL is proud to support our first responders in good weather and bad. See how at FPL.com.
Second time in the last 3 innings that there has been a leadoff walk.
Marlins have not been able to capitalize just yet, though. That being the key. Certainly looking to break through. So some traffic out there against Newcomb. Going to turn it into something. Caught a break in the 4th with the error. Anderson hit the ball hard. 6-4-3 double play wiped him out. Leadoff walk to Rivera in the 3rd did not turn into a run.
Ball and a strike to Rivera. Again, who has been mainly a pinch hitter for Don Mattingly, but a guy who can certainly pick it over there at shortstop. He's also been getting some work here and there over at first base to try to improve or raise his level of versatility for this club. We saw him in spring play some in the outfield. And was it a couple of hours before his birthday, had himself a walk-off hit in the series against the Philadelphia Phillies.
He had a sweet birthday because of that hit. You know that, right?
Of course. The whole day. You're in your 40s now. You still count birthdays? I talked to my uncle last week. My uncle last week, I call him up. I go, happy birthday. He goes, I don't even care anymore.
Don't beat around the bush. Just go right. I like the direct approach.
You know, just there's a game going on. I mean, we don't want to get too far away from it. Can't be sitting here hemming and hawing about it. You don't really care about your birthday.
I don't. I mean, my birthday. I mean, listen. I try to appreciate my birthday a little bit more as you get a little bit older, but my kids do very much. My wife very much does, and I'm very grateful for that. I don't think I necessarily do as well as I should, because you kind of, you know how this gig is. I mean, we're with this team every second of the day, and if we're not here, I know I'm generally thinking about it in some regard. As my wife knows, my birthday falls early in the season, and you kind of get into that rhythm. And yeah, I'm not really good at celebrating it. My birthday's always been on a baseball field, so it's kind of how it goes.
You either celebrate your birthday like March 15th or October 9th, something like that.
You're right. It's just the way it is. It's like all in or all out, and that's kind of how the baseball life is. For 6 to 8 months, these guys dedicate their lives to a sport that makes them play basically every day. Even the off days really do feel like, baseball is going to be played somewhere.
Throw down to second. Rojas rushing back to first and in there safely. First base umpire Rob Drake right on top of it.
Well, nice job. He didn't get the best of jumps. Newcomb, a lefty, getting a little bit late. Job slamming on the brakes and getting back to first base. Well done. And he was halfway to second. And he would definitely have been out at second base had he continued to go. And we told you the strong numbers, but you still have to get a good jump.
Urania fouls that one back to the screen. Urania struck out in the third inning trying to do exactly what he just did, lay down the bunt. Got the bunt sign with 2 strikes, but fouled it back. So a strikeout in the third. There have been 5 strikeouts this afternoon for Sean Newcomb.
I'll tell you what, Newcomb went right back at him with a changeup because he saw Urania jabbing at the ball. That's how he struck him out his first time. Of course, in that situation, trying to get the sacrifice down, didn't do it. Certainly don't want to jab at it.
He gets this one down. Flaherty tangled up a little bit with Suzuki, but they make the play at first.
Much better job by Urania, who caught this. Got down the barrel a little bit, but got it out in front of home plate finally. He had like 5 good attempts at getting a bunt down today, and he finally got it done.
So he moves Rojas into scoring position for Cameron Maben. And the Braves are lucky that that didn't go a little bit worse, because Flaherty was way in, all the way from third base. He's in right around the cutout. Suzuki's about 5 feet from it. Flaherty takes control. Maben, ground ball to short. Camargo up quickly, makes the play, and the inning is over. We go to the 6th here in Miami. The Lincoln Spring Sales Event, drive into spring in a new Lincoln. Braves up 1-0. Not a lot of hits on the board as we speak here on a Sunday afternoon. Both pitchers have been pretty good. 1-2-1 for the Braves, 0-1-1 for the Marlins. So to the 6th we go. Jose Urania will get to face 2, 3, and 4 for Atlanta. Ronald Acuna Jr., Freddie Freeman, and Nick Markakis. So far today for Urania, the 5 innings pitched, the 2 hits, a couple of walks, 4 strikeouts. As Acuna Jr. taps the first pitch foul. Acuna Jr. has been slowed a bit in this series. He was called up by the Atlanta Braves. Boy, did he come out like a house on fire. Just 5 hits in his last now 34 at-bats going back to the 4th of May. $19 strikeouts for him. The youngest player in Major League Baseball. It's the Florida Lottery in-game jackpot. Oh, his teammate, Mike Soroka, is right behind him. Oh, his other teammate, Ozzie Albies, is right there behind him. It's a young group, at least in parts. You know, we were looking at it before. We were talking throughout the series about, boy, how young this Braves team is. Sure, there is a lot of youth. Just mentioned 3 of those guys, but there's also some veteran leadership. Kurt Suzuki's been around for a while. Of course, Freddie Freeman, Nick Markakis kind of fudged the numbers a little bit when it comes to the average age. And that one is a fair ball inside the right field line. And here comes a strong throw from Anderson, but Acuna Jr. is in there with a leadoff double here in the 6th.
Oh my goodness gracious, we got to see his speed really on display. As this scoots down the right field line. Once he realizes it's fair, watch him turn on the Jets. My oh my, this young man can run. Ryan Anderson, a great arm. We've seen it on display in this series. Strong throw into second. Acuna, no doubt, is going to get himself a double.
So he is on base to start it, and now Freddie Freeman, who has already reached twice today. 12 of his last 16 plate appearances, he has been on base. He, of course, had the 5-hit night on Thursday. Average is creeping up now to 336. Singled and scored back in the 1st inning, walked in the 3rd. I know you mentioned the OPS numbers, and he's at the top of the heap when it comes to first baseman. Generally speaking, and I can't even believe I'm saying this because of what you mentioned, of the fact that he's got the long-term contract, but do you still think that across the country he is underrated?
I do. It's probably a little bit more of a personality thing than it is, you know, anything other than that. I mean, we know Joey Votto for being Joey Votto. Of course, he's in Cincinnati, great player. I mean, but he's always at the core of the debate, right? You know, maybe it's a little bit of Joey's approach. Should he hit for more power? Should he swing the bat a little bit more? It's been going on for years.
Grounded to Rivera, who was on the right side of the infield. Freeman retired, but over to third goes Acuna Jr.
Make the argument that Anthony Rizzo now, Anthony, who's, you know, right in that conversation as well, Parkland native, won the World Series for a franchise that hadn't won the World Series in 100+ years, and he's the elder statesman. He's been there through the bad years, now to the good ones. I mean, and he's backed it up with his offensive approach. So ahead of Freddie Freeman, fair, right?
Yeah.
I mean, as far as, you know, maybe international flavor,
right?
I mean, you can go just about. I mean, probably Paul Goldschmidt. I think Paul Goldschmidt's an interesting one because I think a lot of people peg him higher because of the production, and then that little bit of an argument that happens, but not nearly as Colorado-esque, but Arizona kind of falls into, oh, he gets to play in the desert, you know?
Yep.
So do we weight him differently? Freddie has just kind of gone along and done his thing, and it's like, you're right, and I guess that's what I mean by personality. It's, you know, he's not, you know, out in front. You don't see him on, you know, the Wheaties box or whatever, and you know, you just are like, this guy is just as steady as they come.
Right. He's not in commercials with his third baseman and Eddie Vedder.
There you
Is
go.
that what you're getting at? Yeah. And I think forgotten man is probably a bit of a strong way to put it. But the last 3 years in Atlanta, there haven't been many wins, obviously, you know, for this club. 2013, they won 96 games. 2014, 79. 2015, they won 67, then 68. 72 games last year, but they are off to a terrific start this year. And, you know, all of those kind of accolades, we talk about Albies and Acuna Jr. Freeman has been the steadying force in this lineup for a long time. There's the youngster over at third, with Nick Markakis at the plate. Marlins have the infield in, trying to keep this at a 1-0 deficit in the 6th inning. Swing and a miss for Markakis, something he doesn't do very often. It's The 5th strikeout of the afternoon.
Yeah, how about it? Urania to the top of the strike zone with the slider. You don't see him creep up too often upstairs. Now with the secondary pitches, that's not really where he wants him. He picks up the strikeout. Markakis a little late on that slider. That is a huge out here in the 6th.
But there are 2 outs, and these are the Atlanta Braves. Today they have a run with 2 outs. In the series, they have a bunch. Throughout the season, they have 150 2-out hits.
As we mentioned throughout the series, 18 of the 23 runs have come with 2 outs for the Atlanta Braves. That's where they've done their best work really all series long.
But Urania's done a nice job. It was that first inning, the 2-out base hit, and then the one that fell in left field. A base hit, an error that scored the game's only run. And now Enciarte down the right field line. And they've done it again with 2 outs. Enciarte, a 2-run home run. It is now 3-0 Atlanta.
Yeah, reminds me of a swing he took last night. Same finish, same degree of certainty with contact. Enciarte, 3rd home run of the season, number 2 last night, a few hours ago anyway. Now number 3, short compact swing, pulls the hands in, ball up. Easy to level off. No launch angle discussion there. It's just merely meeting the pitch where it's thrown.
And on pitch number 100 for Urania, a 2-run homer. Enciarte's 3rd of the year makes it 3-0 Atlanta.
Well, he has not made many mistakes, Urania, today. He has been very good. That hanging changeup was turned around.
Rojas in foul ground. That one gets into the 3rd row or so. It's 1-1. Well, the numbers jump up for Jose Urania when you get to that 3rd time through the order. First time through hitters entering today at 258. 2nd time through at 254. 3rd time through 318. Double and a home run in this 3rd trip through for Atlanta. 2 strikes to Kurt Suzuki, who struck out looking in the 2nd and grounded out in the 4th.
Five home runs on the season allowed by Urania, all 5 by left-handed batters.
Grounded to Rivera at short. And that is out number 3. But more 2-out damage for the Braves. It's 3-0. Joey Rickard with 2 on and 1 out in the 4th inning with a high drive down the left field line. That'll get out. He's got 2 home runs in this one as the Baltimore Orioles all over the Tampa Bay Rays. It is 11-0 right now in the middle of the 5th inning. Orioles, though, come in at 12-28. Kind of been a frustrating first month and a half for the O's. We'll see the Orioles in June on a road trip. Baltimore, San Francisco, Colorado.
Orioles 4 home runs in that game. My goodness.
Back here in Miami, Paul Severino, Todd Hollandsworth. Some work to do for Martin Prado and the Marlins. Prado, Realmuto, and Castro. He fouls that one. Back behind the Braves dugout. Up to 19 consecutive scoreless innings for Sean Newcomb, going back over his last 3+ starts, however you want to really break it down. This will be pitch number 85 for the 24-year-old. Marlins have the 1 hit as Nick Whitgren loosens. Urania up to 104 pitches, 63 of them strikes. As Prado works the walk, so let's see if the Marlins can do anything with it. Let's go downstairs to Kelly Sacco.
Thanks, guys. Well, players took to Instagram to wish the women in their lives a happy Mother's Day. Let's start with Cameron Maben. Check this one out, guys. A before and after happy Mother's Day to Mama, past and present. Look at little Cameron. He just looks so cute. And then Dan Straley, who said things has changed a little bit in their house. That's a picture of his wife, Amanda, and their son, firstborn Jax. I love this line. He says here in this post, says, never realize how much work goes into being a mom. Last to eat, last to sleep, last to shower. Obviously sounding stuff, but seeing it firsthand, I finally get an idea of how hard it is. So nice to see the guys talking about all the women in their lives and wishing them a very happy Mother's Day.
Absolutely, Kelly, thanks so much. And we do exactly the same up here. Again, as we talked about before, I never played at the big league level. Todd, you did, but even though now the lifestyle is very similar, we're on the road a lot. Kids at home, somebody's got to get them to school, somebody's got to feed them dinner, somebody's got to take them to their sporting events. Moms and wives doing an excellent job. So a million thanks go out to the moms celebrating Mother's Day today. GT Realmuto takes ball 1. Prado on at first. He's walked a couple of times tonight. Realmuto is 0 for 2 in this one. Takes a big swing and comes up empty there. So what has been either the reason for Newcomb's success or the reason for the Marlins' struggles today, depending on which kind of scope you want to look at it in? Is it something the Marlins are doing wrong? Is it something that Newcomb is doing very well?
No, it's something that Newcomb's doing very well. And it's a little combination of both, probably. I mean, Marlins have had the leadoff runner on in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and now 6th inning. They've yet to produce a run. They've been patient. They've taken their walks at time, but let's be honest, there hasn't been a whole lot of hard contact. Most of the action has really been on the ground. For the most part, Newcomb has done as advertised. He's kept them off balance. As I mentioned, that 92, 93 mile an hour fastball playing up. There's no doubt. You watch the passes that the Marlins are making through the zone, that there's some deception there, not only in his mechanics, but also a healthy respect for the changeup that we talked about.
2 balls and 2 strikes now to Realmuto. Again, this is the part of the order for the Marlins that they would like to get something going. Running out of time too, either against Newcomb, because he's just been rolling, or the bullpen has been so good. But Realmuto set down for the first out here in the 6th.
That's the one spot that Newcomb has dialed up on JT today. He is having a hard time picking him up. Pretty good look at all the sequencing, all working off that low corner. Combination of fastballs and changeups down in the zone.
Well, at last check, he's thrown 53 four-seam fastballs. It's been a strike 49% of the time. He's thrown 30 changeups. It's been a strike 53% of the time. 0-1 to Starlin Castro, who was one of the leadoff men who reached back in the 4th inning on an error, but was erased on a double play. Takes a look at a ball off the edge. 1-1.
And there's a look at his pitch count by inning. He has been consistent. It's the one thing that you look at. I'm sitting here staring at his last 2 starts thinking that the numbers that he's got today look just like those 2 starts. Last start against the Rays 5 days ago, 6 innings, 2 hits allowed, 3 walks, 6 Ks. Sound familiar? Yeah, it's that same pattern that he has been in for his last few starts. We talked about the Mayflowers in the AutoNation scouting report. 0 ERA, so nobody really been able to break through.
Blocked by Suzuki. Saw action in the bullpen for the Braves. Getting through 6 innings has not been an issue for Newcomb. He's gone at least 6 in each of his last 4 starts. Including a career best 7 innings 2 starts ago. Castro out to right center field, and Ciarte in front of Markakis for out number 2. Arguably the hardest hit ball of the afternoon for the Marlins off Brian Anderson's bat back in the 2nd inning. A double to left field, but was stranded.
And that's been the theme a bit today. A few base runners, action in just about every inning. Well, every inning but the first. Just not able to break through, come up with that big base hit. The right type of contact.
In fact, not arguable at all. 105 miles an hour off the bat. The only one over 100 today for the Marlins. So Newcomb has done a nice job staying away from the barrels of the Marlins hitters. Five base runners all day, 4 walks, and Anderson's hit. Next pitch will be number 100. Not uncharted territory for Newcomb. 108 pitches in his last outing. It's been over 100 a couple of other times this year. There's a strike on the outside edge. Look at his last 3. And in the last inning against Cincinnati, didn't give up any runs. So you pair that with the 2 starts against the Mets and the Rays, and the start today. That's how you get to 19 scoreless. Three balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. That's going to give Prado a head start at first base with the Marlins down 3-0. Anderson pops this one up. Ciarte a long run and is able to put it away for the final out of the 6th inning. We head to the top of the 7th here at Marlins Park.
go with MLB.tv. Your subscription includes MLB At Bat Premium, allowing you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
So the day is done for Jose Urena. He makes way for Nick Whitgren, pitching in his 11th game for the Marlins. He has been so good for them. An ERA well under 1, an opponent batting average under 200. Still pitching in that middle relief role for this team. But as we tie a bow on the day for Urena, he gives up the 3 earned runs in the 6 innings. So that is considered a quality start. The thing about it is, the trend continued. No runs. Like usually we say no runs and we mean not a lot of runs. Today, no runs. It's in the top 5 or bottom 5, depending on how you want to look at it in terms of run support per game. There's less than 3 per coming in. As Ryan Flaherty fouls the first pitch off. Flaherty, Camargo, and Newcomb due up for the Braves. Here up 3-0 in the 7th.
Now for Urena, one mistake. You know, you hate to circle it that way. When you talk about a scoreless ball game, it's a lot of times what ends up happening. And certainly I dismissed that first run. He couldn't do anything about it. He did his job. Fly ball to left. Good running catch by Maven as he makes his way to the line. You know, it's as simple as that. And that doesn't feel fair, but that's baseball. You know what? One hanging changeup, one bad pitch, and now you're down 3-0. And you pair that with, to your point, no run support. And that's the way this game feels right now. And it's unfortunate because Urena did everything right today. How about 11 ground ball outs against this Atlanta Braves team that has been swinging the bats?
11 ground ball outs, 5 strikeouts.
Well, I say the ground ball outs because we've talked about 7 home runs being hit in the first 3 games. So that's called doing your job. Now 8 home runs, 1 hanging changeup. Cost him 2.
Camargo, fly ball out to Anderson in right for the second out. Jose Bautista about to pinch hit, but let's go downstairs to Kelly Sacco.
Thanks, guys. Well, today the Marlins honored breast cancer survivor Myra Lima as part of the MLB's honorary Batgirl program. And earlier today, she had the chance to meet Nick Whitgren. He presented her with a customized jersey, and this cause is very personal to him. Both his mother and grandmother are breast cancer survivors. His mother was diagnosed when he was just starting college. So Nick knows firsthand how hard cancer is on both the families and those fighting it. Nick also had a chance to catch the first pitch and speak with Lima, who is a nurse, registered nurse for 30 years, and is actually very active in looking for a cure and doing research. So Nick said he learned a lot from her and was very happy to be part of this here today.
Yeah, Kelly, thank you so much. I know that obviously it's breast cancer awareness. That's part of the reason for the pink on Mother's Day. When we get to Father's Day in June, it'll be the baby blue for prostate cancer awareness. We get to the All-Star Game, the World Series. There's the Stand Up to Cancer initiative. So obviously this is it's something that affects just about everybody one way or another, whether it's yourself or a loved one. And baseball doing whatever it can to bring more awareness to hopefully find a cure someday. It's 0-2 to the pinch hitter Jose Bautista. So Newcomb's day is done. Bautista takes low and away.
Bautista home run last night. How about this? First National League home run since July 26th of 2008. That's right.
2008?
2008. About a decade ago. Just under a decade. He was a Pittsburgh Pirate at the time. Was against the San Diego Padres at PNC Park. Off Brian Corey.
And that was before he was the Jose Bautista we know now.
What do you, is it his alter ego?
It was it. It was a totally different guy. I mean, a different swing. He was a third baseman. I mean, I know he's a third baseman now, but he made a name for himself as a right fielder in Toronto.
I agree. Yep. He is a very positive story in the game of baseball in that, you're right. Heard many a man say, you know, if that guy got more of a chance, and Jose ended up being that guy, and well, my oh my, has he put together a great career. I believe 332 last night was the number, career home run. Good swing. He can still get to it, by the way. That ball, and as I kind of said during the home run, I mean, he didn't crush it, get it all. He actually was a little early on that, so still good bat speed through the zone. Actually caught that off the end of the bat a little bit.
332 career home runs. His career best was in 2010 when he had 54. Followed that up with 43 in 2011. A couple of quote-unquote down years, 27 and then 28, before getting up to 35 and 40 again. Different role with the Atlanta Braves this year, though, so perhaps, never say never in this game where it's so much power, but perhaps the days of 40 are behind him. Another clean inning for Nick Whitgren. We stretch here at Marlins Park. Miami down 3. First inning, a ball out into left field. Yadiel Rivera, Cameron Maben, a miscommunication, an errant throw led to a run. Urania, though, sharp after that, but perhaps not as sharp as Sean Newcomb, who has now run his scoreless inning streak to 20 consecutive innings. Two-run home run for Ender Inciarte. And that's pretty much been the story of this one, the last of a 4-game series between the Braves and the Marlins. Very happy Mother's Day from Billy the Marlin, from all of us here at the Marlins. Last of the 7th, Brinson, Rojas, Rivera due up, as the Marlins have just one hit today, a hard hit double off the bat of Brian Anderson. So now Sam Freeman comes out of the Braves bullpen. Sean Newcomb, 6 innings, a hit, 6 strikeouts. He walked 4, but wasn't burned by any of them, as Freeman will come in and face a righty, and a righty. But it's been against the lefties that he has been so good. 0 for 21 against left-handed batters this year.
Well, his last 6 appearances, very, very good, scoreless. Having a good arm. The 7th inning to work.
And just 2 hits and 2 walks over those last 6.
Four-seam fastball. The sinker slider also has a split. Good arm, 94 to 96 on his fastball.
A little delay on the field before the bottom of the 7th gets going. So Newcomb kind of kept the Marlins guessing at times today. He was executing very well with his pitch arsenal. They were able to muster just the 1 hit. Is there a certain sigh of relief now that Newcomb is out of the game?
Well, I think it was quite strategic that you bring Sam Freeman in left side. You see the struggles that the Marlins have had today offensively. A lot of different ways you could have gone. High fly ball to the left. Shallow.
So you got Acuna there, and you've got Camargo. And it's Camargo.
No, Camargo, yeah, was able to get underneath it. I think that's the biggest difference. Going back to the first inning, I think is where we're going with that one right there. And I think there was a degree of uncertainty as the ball was about halfway down. Camargo had that one all the way, and you saw it as Acuna was making his way in. He kind of breaks down, right? I mean, you're not backing up your middle infielder, with an aggressive approach. You kind of ease your way in there. There's not a whole lot you can do.
That one up and in on Miguel Rojas. Sure if that got him on the hand or the forearm. We'll take a closer, slower look here.
Wrist, left wrist.
It got deflected off of his chin too, I think. Kind of hit a couple of different things, but they're focusing in on that wrist and forearm area. He's taking off the gear, so hopefully that means he's going to stay in this ball game.
That's going to be a pretty good bruise. You see the mark already left. Thank goodness he had that little, I'm not sure if that was a pad or if there was any padding there, if it was merely just a wristband. He had a wrap there. As I mentioned, Freeman throws hard, no doubt. This hurts. I'll tell you what, hurts even more if that wrap's not there. You can see the bruise that's already coming in.
Well, some guys will use, there's a company out there that you could kind of put it on and it becomes like a form-fitting shield over your, whether you want it on your wrist or your elbow, your shin guard, or whatever it is. But you're right. I think that might have been just more of a little bit of a wrap than anything else. And now Rivera lines one out to left field, but right at Acuna Jr. for the second out here in the seventh. Kyle Bearclaw up after a clean seventh inning from Nick Whitgren. Oh yeah, starting to bubble up now.
Yeah, they'll definitely get some ice on that after the game. He'll hopefully go back down and he'll be good to go. I think just the fact that seeing him take that wrap off, because it was a pretty good compression that he had on there, was a good sign that it wasn't anything more. I don't want to speculate. I'm certainly not a doctor, but from my life's experiences, if you can take that garment off that's on there tight, usually you've got more stability in there than you would have if there was a broken bone or something else.
Derek Dietrich off the bench now, out of the number 9 spot in the order, with Urania out, and obviously a spot here where they want to get something going offensively. Swung on a miss, gets away from Suzuki. And Dietrich is out on the strikeout. And the inning is over. home plate umpire Tim Timmons just to get a bit of a clarification as to what was going on there. The ball got away from Kurt Suzuki, but once Dietrich leaves the field of play, he's out. So there was a little hesitation by just about everybody in the ballpark, but out number 3 nonetheless, as Bearclaw is in, the third pitcher of the afternoon for the Marlins. After 6 strong from Urania, a clean 7th from Whitgren, Bearclaw is out to try to keep this at a 3-0 deficit. Dietrich stays in the ballgame. He'll take over at first. J.B. Shuck moves over to right field, comes into the game and goes out to right field. And again, Bearclaw on the bump. So Rojas, who was hit by the pitch, going into the tunnel for some further treatment. We will pass along any updates that we get, but clearly a hit by pitch right on that left wrist and started to bubble up rather quickly. So hopefully a little ice and a day off is enough to heal Rojas. Soft line drive, a leaping grab by Rivera. And there is 1 out here in the 8th. Take a trip to 1993 as the Marlins celebrate their 25th anniversary. Join us the weekend of June 8th through the 10th with some of your favorite World Series champs, throwback moments, giveaways, and much more. Rep your teal as the Marlins take on the Padres in our throwback jerseys. Visit marlins.com/25. This is Ronald Acuna Jr. had a double back in the 6th inning, came around to score on the Inciarte home run. Takes a called strike, a ball and a strike from Bearclaw.
Kyle doing some outstanding work. He's got an appearance in this series a couple of days ago. Clean inning. 12.42 strikeouts per 9 innings. It's very good this season. He's got him amongst the top guys in the National League. 23 punch outs on the season. Got to keep things in check here. Big 8th inning. Try to give this Marlins team a chance to score.
Three and 1 now to Acuna, who was last year's minor league player of the year, named by Baseball America and USA Today. When you get that award, it's pretty clear you're also going to be the organizational player of the year, as he was for the Braves last year. Be sure to tune into Marlins Live, the pregame show before the next game, presented by your South Florida Honda dealers. Craig Minervini, Jeff Nelson get you set for the first game of a 3-game series against the Dodgers. It's also an email Twitter Tuesday, so get your questions and comments and compliments, frankly, ready. Wei-Yin Chen will be on the mound on Tuesday. Against Alex Wood. Caleb Smith against Walker Buehler on Wednesday, and Dan Straley scheduled to face Kenta Maeda in the finale on Thursday afternoon.
Well, we've talked about the journey of some of these top teams in the National League East. The Washington Nationals, they're out playing the Arizona Diamondbacks right now. They're playing pretty good baseball and taking it to the Diamondbacks, and they're on fire.
Out to center field, and a catch by Brinson. On the sinking liner off the bat of Freddie Freeman.
Not a lot of rotation on this baseball. You can almost see it there as the seams were hardly turning over. Kind of squared it up, sinking fast. Nice job by Brinson. Good read, good close, nice catch. Well done. As I was mentioning, the competition at the top of this division, Jacob deGrom is back. That's right, hyperextended his elbow a few weeks ago. There was many people around the game of baseball that thought Jacob deGrom might be done. You hear that word hyperextension, it does not sit well with most of us. I personally thought he was going to be out for a while. Well, he's back. How about this for a first inning? 45 pitches. Oh, walked the first 3 Phillies he faced. Hernandez, Altair, Herrera, struck out Hoskins. Fielder choice on Santana, struck out Miguel Franco. No runs. 45 pitches. How about that?
That's walking a tightrope.
Well, he's back. It's Jacob deGrom, one of the game's better right-handers.
New York Mets at the start of play, 3 back of the Atlanta Braves. Philadelphia Phillies 1 back, and the Nationals, who play later tonight in Arizona, a game and a half back of Atlanta in the National League East. A 1-0 on the way to Nick Markakis. It's a strike. Once the Nationals leave Arizona, they will head home to take on the New York Yankees, a team that just refuses to slow down. Talk about the Atlanta Braves and how they have been tough to kill in an inning. Anytime there's 2 outs, it seems like their ears perk up, their bats perk up. Yankees have kind of been that way late in ball games the last 3 weeks. You can wave, go ahead. All right.
Say hi. Hi,
Oh, you're not talking to me.
No, you can wave too, please, by all means. I had my little guy up here before, and he put the headset on. And people in the truck were talking. Say hi, say hi. He totally froze up.
I get used to it. I had a little talk with him. We decided that we kind of blame you.
Yeah, that's fine.
He told me that he would do it as long as Dad would help.
Right.
A pretty good jump. Cunha well on his way. A little bit off the mark.
Yeah, the guys in the truck, they wanted him to say, "Can you just say Happy Mother's Day?" And he just wanted nothing to do with it.
You get used to it.
My wife tried to bribe him.
Didn't work?
No. Candy, nothing.
I think he's to the money stage.
He said, yeah, I think you're probably right. He's only 7, but he knows how it works. He knows exactly how it works.
Saw him the other day, or you were telling me about the other day, he had gone to the yogurt place. He was crushing it, right?
Oh, yeah.
The one where they sell it to you by the ounce?
By the ounce, yeah. With him, it's by the pound.
$15 worth? It's pretty impressive.
He goes to the place and he starts with a brownie right there. That's already a dense brownie. So that, right off the bat, it's $8. See, there he is. Look at him. That's when they were putting effects on his head.
Well, they figured he probably wasn't on camera right there. See, now if you told him he was on camera, it might have changed, right?
Right. He had no idea. They were putting effects on his head like a little bit of a fire. See in the background, the back monitor, they had fire on his head and he couldn't believe it. He couldn't figure it out. I was trying to tell him.
Good stuff.
My wife she's begging him, "Can you please just do it, please?" And we're like, all right, how about 25 cents? How about 50 cents? Jeff Nelson came in. Jeff Nelson tried to give him money. Nothing worked. Nothing worked. He refused. Oh, boy. Little man.
Well on his way. He'll be up here someday. He'll be proud father.
Well, that's what I said. I said, this is how Joe Buck started,
That's right.
He's like, who? I said, all right. That's fine. Go get some candy. Special day for all families around the yard this Mother's Day. Again, thanks so much for spending some of it with us. Last of a 4-game series. There you go. Just load it up. Double fisting right there. Look at that. Just fantastic. He's got a button that says it's his first Marlins game. He's got the sick flow, the hat going.
And he's with Mom.
That's living right there. Called strike 3. Markakis is down to end the 8th. Bearclaw strands a runner. Marlins down by 3.
matter where you serve or when you served, we stand ready to serve all military families.
Oh, look at that guy, ready to roll. Fantastic. Enjoying the day at the ballpark.
Yes, sir.
A 3-0 deficit for the Marlins going to the bottom of the 8th. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by the Florida Lottery. Don't miss your chance to play for the massive Powerball jackpot. Pick your lucky numbers and get your Powerball ticket at any Florida Lottery retailer. The Florida Lottery, it's your ticket. Claim it. Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly. As Dan Winkler is in to face the top of the Marlins order. Cameron Maben, Martin Prado, and JT Realmuto. 19th game for Winkler. An opponent batting average of 125, and he has really crushed the righties. They are 3 for 35 against.
You know, I mentioned it a few days ago. This is a pretty impressive bullpen. They've been getting pretty good reps and good results of late. And we talked about the road winning streak. Bullpen certainly a big part of it. They had a consecutive scoreless streak on the road. Certainly the bullpen a big part of that as well. And the balance, that's the one thing that I'm so impressed with. Atlanta Braves, 4 lefties, 4 righties. You have so many different lanes you can go down with that. And when you've got the righties getting the righties out and the Sam Freeman's getting the lefties out, you find yourself in a really good spot, picking exactly where you want guys to go.
Maben with the ground ball to the right side. Albies gobbles it up for the first out here in the 8th inning. 4 1/3 scoreless from this Atlanta bullpen last night. 3 runs in their last 22 1/3 coming into today. Freeman had a strikeout in his 1 inning of work, and Winkler retires the first batter he faces. Now it's Martin Prado. Newcomb went the first 6 today, gave up the 1 hit. The only hit of the day for the Marlins. A double for Brian Anderson back in the 2nd inning. Newcomb also walked 4, so there have been 5 base runners. Check that, 6 with the Rojas hit by pitch. But as I look here, really the only inning that there was any sort of chance at a threat, and by threat I mean multiple base runners, was the 3rd inning. There were a couple of walks. Braves turned to double play in the 4th inning, of which they have done quite a bit in this series. As Prado strikes out for the 2nd out here in the 8th.
Now for Winkler, a combination, the 4-seam fastball, sinker, slider. It's been good this season. There's another look. Out and down. Two different directions.
Almost half of the outs recorded for Winkler this season have been by way of the K. Half of his 2 outs today have been by the strikeout. It's not much. It's 2. So it's 1 of the 2, but it's just kind of the theme, Holly. That's all I was doing there. All right.
Picking up on your theme.
Thanks. Ball and a strike to Realmuto. Ziegler on the left and Eliezer Hernandez on the right. Strike 2 to JT.
Now the Atlanta Braves have themselves an interesting journey coming up. It's my understanding that they have a makeup game, I believe, in Chicago tomorrow against the Chicago Cubs. Rained out a little bit earlier, snowed out. I know it's from back in April, I believe. Then they're going to journey back to Atlanta to play the Chicago Cubs in a 3-game series.
Yeah. Heard that the other day. That's it's really wild. I mean, that's a weird trip. Because you get the schedule and you're thinking, all right, well, we've got the 2 games against the Rays, 4 against the Marlins, and then we go home. It's easy. Not so much. Couple of strikeouts in the inning for Winkler to the ninth. By Southwest Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center, in pursuit of your cure. And by your South Florida Honda dealers. Downtown Miami on a Mother's Day Sunday. Here at Marlins Park. To the ninth inning we go. Yeah, you get to this point in the game, those little guys, they just learn how to walk. It's hard to corral them. It really is. And the only way to keep them happy at a baseball game is to give them, you know, cotton candy and stuff with sugar. So then they want to move even more. It's a vicious cycle, Holly. It really is.
Just keep them corralled. That's all you got to do.
Just get them in there. Eliezer Hernandez. Again, happy Mother's Day around the ballpark, filling out those
Mother's
cards.
Day. I love it. Got a little flower in her hand.
Fantastic.
Beautiful dress on.
Eliezer Hernandez, second outing for the Marlins, faces Ender Inciarte, Kurt Suzuki, Ryan Flaherty here in the ninth inning.
First time out, good stuff. Opening game of this series, 2 innings, a couple of hits, no damage. Inciarte, the difference maker in today's ball game, certainly part of last night's action as well. You can almost hear Jose Ureña as that changeup ended up at the top of the zone and turned around. He's picked up 2 of his 3 home runs on the season in the last 24 hours.
It's a guy who not long ago had an 0 for 19.
Maybe he's taken to his new spot in the lineup, 5th and 6th spot, as opposed to the leadoff hitter.
He was leading off for a little while, and Brian Snitker moved him down to the 9 spot with the pitcher batting 8th. This one is chopped to second, backhanded by Castro, and he is just too fast.
Inciarte, look at the little advantage sometimes you gain. If you get out on your front foot, boy oh boy does he get to full speed quick. Just beat it out, no doubt. Foot down, ball still on the way. Yeah, point being, he had a little head start as he got out on his front foot, tapped it to the right side. He is in business here in the 9th. 2 more hits in this 4-game series.
And Suzuki lines one through a vacated right side with 3 men on the left side of the infield. 2 on for the Braves here in the 9th. Marlins live post-game show coming up after this one. Presented to you by WB Mason. Craig Minervini, Jeff Nelson have you covered. We'll get an update on what's going on with Miguel Rojas. Hit by a pitch on the left wrist. Stayed in to run the bases, but left after that. And of course, we'll hear from Don Mattingly after the last game of a 4-game set going into an off day before the Dodgers come into town for 3 starting Tuesday. Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday afternoon. Dodgers get going against the Cincinnati Reds in about a half-hour's time out in L.A. Last of a 4-game series for the Dodgers against the Reds, and L.A. has yet to win a game. Turn to Rich Hill tonight, or this afternoon rather. Luis Castillo for the Reds. Flaherty pops this one up behind home plate. That'll reach the seats, 1-1. Flaherty today 0 for 3. Guy who was signed by the Philadelphia Phillies at the beginning of spring training on February 8th, released by the Phillies March 22nd, signed by the Braves on March 26th. And for the first couple of seasons was their hottest hitter. Now Brian Snitker, with the addition of Jose Bautista, has had to finagle the lineup a little bit, make sure that both of those guys get the playing time that they need. So Flaherty, a guy who has settled in nicely to a utility spot in that lineup, as Enciarte is safe at third. The throw took Prado closer to the second base side of the bag, and Tim Wallach is going to be on the phone to see whether or not there was a tag. One more look.
A couple of steps. Get a lefty in the box, so nobody too sure. He may have got him on the shoulder. One more quick look. Ooh.
There's the tag.
Out.
He's out.
Yeah, he sure is. Nice job by Martin Prado, by the way. Are you kidding me?
Excellent job.
Catch and tag. Feet in the air. I think the Marlins should get this one. There's enough evidence, at least in my opinion, to overturn this. Don't everybody trust me, though. I've missed a few lately. I think I'm like L2 or L3 right now.
You know what? Thankfully for you, I don't think we're keeping track.
Well, I do tend to keep track on myself.
Nah. Accountability only goes so far. When it's negative, no.
Doesn't mean they're right though. When I'm wrong,
true.
you know.
There's that's where the glove starts to move.
That's right. There you see the little effort right there. His foot is not in the third base bag, and there you go.
Crew chief Mike Winters says he is out. So a caught stealing of Enciarte. Great use of the challenge right there by the Marlins. So now Suzuki, the runner at first, and a 3-1 to Flaherty. Rips that one down the right field line. Foul. Tyler Cloyd up for the Marlins. Full count pitch sent out to left center field. This is Mabin for out number 2. And now a message from FPL.
FPL is proud to support our first responders in good weather and bad. See how at FPL.com.
2 outs here in the top of the 9th inning. Here is Johan Camargo. Inside. Camargo today 0 for 3. Couple of ground outs. Flew out to right field back in the 7th. Getting the playing time at shortstop with the injury to Dansby Swanson. Swanson was off to a good start to begin this 2018 season. You pair that with the other hot bats in this lineup, and you start to understand why the Braves are where they are. Line, base hit into right field. Suzuki turns and heads toward third. Here's the throw from right field, and it's cut off.
First hit of the game. Will Camargo, line drive base hit to right. Pick on a fastball, center cut at the knees. Front foot down, and he is on time. Suzuki making his way with 2 outs, so he was off as soon as there was contact. Rays will continue to get attempts with runners in scoring position. They have not been particularly good today. 1 for 6. Tucker gets the pinch hit. 5 for 13 as a pinch hitter. 385 batting average. Does have a double.
Well, that's kind of how this season has gone for the Braves, at least in the first 5 or 6 weeks of it. It's like everything kind of worked out for them. As that one is knocked down by Castro, the run will come in to score, and it's 4-0 Atlanta. Well, as I was saying, everything kind of working out for the Braves.
Another pinch hit. Number 6 on the season, another RBI, 19 on the season. You're right. I was thinking you were talking about that a little bit earlier, some of the player moves that they've been able to make, and it just seems right now that everything that the Atlanta Braves turns out correct, turns out right. Right answer, right player, right opportunity, right results, and it's turning out. How about another 2-out run? 21 of 26 in the series. Amazing.
Albies fouls that one off. Albies 0 for 4 today. Does that just go back to their kind of new philosophy here in 2018? It's just, it seems like, I know that don't strike out and come up with 2-out hits or two different concepts, but just like a continue to battle kind of big picture.
Right. Well, I tried to weave it together, and because I thought that there was a storyline there, there wasn't. In fact, what I was looking for was number of pitches, like with 2 strikes, avoiding the strikeout. Now, the Atlanta Braves, they're not one of the top teams in Major League Baseball as far as that statistic is concerned, but the idea really is this: they don't strike out. Top team in the National League as far as few strikeouts are concerned coming into today. They put bat on ball, and whether they're fighting off 2-strike pitches or not, more times than not, contact's happening. I mean, think Freddie Freeman. Maybe he's the best example. We see him, he's been locked in, but he likes to swing the bat early in the count. He's an aggressive hitter. First good fastball he gets, he's on it.
Came into the day as a team, the top on-base percentage in the National League.
Well, top batting average as well. Certainly beating expectations right now.
Eliezer Hernandez set to deal a 2-2 pitch to Albies. And he strikes him out for the final out in the top of the 9th inning. But another run in for the Braves. They lead it 4-0. to try to even up this 4-game set. The next all-you-can-eat Saturday is May 26th when the Marlins take on the Nationals. Starting at just $30, you'll get a ticket to the game, unlimited Nathan's hot dogs, popcorn, peanuts, nachos, and Pepsi soft drinks or Aquafina water. Purchase your tickets for all-you-can-eat Saturdays at marlins.com/AYCE. Got an umbrella in the drink, hat to the side, just living the life on a Sunday at the ballpark. Jesse Biddle is in. Trying to finish this one off for the Atlanta Braves. A team that has won 4 of 5, 9 of 13 overall, and 8 of 9 on the road, pitching in his 9th game so far this season.
Jesse Biddle, he's a reverse splits guy. Lefties hitting much better against him. Righties not so much, only 3 for 27. Lefties 462. Of course, what's he stacked up to get? 3 right-handers in a row.
Castro, Anderson, Brinson. And check that, Shuck coming in as part of a double switch. First pitch swinging for Castro, a base hit into left field.
A whole lot of hits today for the Marlins. Good swing from Starlin Castro, right on time. Good first pitch fastball, jumps all over it and rips it into left. Marlins need base runners. Good start here in the 9th.
So that'll bring up J.B. Shuck. Again, entered the game earlier as part of a double switch. He has a hit in 4 of his 5 career games against the Braves, and he takes a called strike there. Luis Gohara, and that's Vizcaíno just in case. The Marlins threaten here in the 9th inning. How about that little hesitation for Biddle? Does that throw a hitter off? Does it do anything?
It certainly should. I'm guessing it probably does. You know, first or second pitch in, at some point you've got to get his timing, his release point. That's really what it's all about. Again, as a hitter, you try to see through some of the antics that pitchers will give you.
Ground ball to short, and Shuck too fast for Camargo. Wasn't going to be an easy play anyway, but the Marlins have 2 on and nobody out here in the 9th.
Yeah, you like to see it. Hitting against the shift. They were not anticipating Shuck going the other way. By doing so, gets to turn the Jets on. See where Camargo is? Yeah, that's right. Well, he went in the hole. So that's a good, what, 5, 6, 7 steps away from the baseball. And every step he goes away from first base, Shuck gains in running towards first base. Beats it easily.
2 batters, 2 singles, and Brian Snitker goes to the bullpen. It's presented by the Florida Lottery. Back for the bottom of the 9th. into the bottom of the 9th inning, but he will in fact go to his closer, Arodys Vizcaino, with a couple of runners aboard after back-to-back base hits. Starlin Castro to start the inning, J.B. Shuck an infield knock, and now Vizcaino out for the 19th time in 2018.
He's got a big arm, throws hard, 97, 98 miles an hour on the fastball, four-seamer, curveball as well.
Lewis Brinson with a 5-game hit streak on the line here in the 9th inning. Gonna keep the line moving. High strike, 0-1. Brinson grounded back to Newcomb back in the 2nd inning. Flew out to center field and popped up his other 2 at bats. Justin Bour has moved into the on deck circle. Fouled away, 0-2. Nice to deploy that weapon with a chance to tie the game. So it's up to Brinson to do that. He takes a look at ball 1. Vizcaino, an .075 ERA, has converted all 6 of his save chances since blowing his first save opportunity in early April. Castro at second, Shuck at first. It'll be a 1-2 pitch. Fouled off plate umpire Tim Timmons.
You can almost see that one coming. Little arm side run on the fastball from Vizcaino. Brinson defending the strike zone. You almost anticipate it. That ball kind of boring in on everybody.
Here comes the 1-2 pitch. A swing and a miss. One away here in the 9th.
Goes to the curveball, the big one. Starts at the waist, ends up just above the knees, comes in about the thighs, backed up a little bit. What helps that curveball an awful lot is the separation. He does throw so hard, 98 miles an hour. That pitch there at 84, so a lot slower. Some serious miles per hour off. Justin Bour just want to get that opportunity you mentioned to tie up, I should say, cut significantly into the deficit if he can come up with another pinch hit home run.
He has been successful in that role. Obviously it doesn't happen very often. He's much more of an everyday player for the Marlins. But on days that Don Mattingly gives him a day off, or a half day off as it were, he has come through and he does it again. That one is gone into the upper deck for Justin Bour. A 3-run home run, and the Marlins have life here in the 9th inning.
Let me tell you something, Marlins fans. JB has got the art of pinch hitting down, doesn't he? Right? First swing, 98. Are you kidding me? How about it? Turning it around. 3 base hits in the inning. Capitalized by an upper deck home run to right by the big man. My, oh my.
Well, not that you want him to not start, but geez, 3 pinch hit home runs this year.
Out in front, look at that, no doubt. How about it? Love it. Velocity, no big deal. Just give me something I can get my barrel to. 414 feet. How about 111 miles an hour off the bat? My goodness. Yes, sirree. Front foot down. Good timing. Great timing. But so many times talked about his power to center and to left this season. This a no-doubter, and it's turning on velocity. Woo. Third pinch home run.
And now Rivera lines one out to right field. Markakis puts it away. The Marlins down to their last out. Well, they had one hit coming into this inning. The one hit was a Brian Anderson double back in the second inning. Starlin Castro led off the inning with a base hit. J.B. Shuck an infield single. And then Justin Bour, the pinch hit home run.
Well, Derek Dietrich certainly capable of doing what Justin Bour just did.
Justin Bour, the only hitter with more than one pinch hit home run this year. But now Dietrich, the last hope.
Couldn't help but think that it's about the only time he's getting pitched to, it feels like. He's walking so much right now, you know. He goes through these games where, I mean, you can clearly tell they're pitching around him, don't want to make a mistake to the big guy, right? And, you know, we've been, you know, talking about his plate discipline, on base percentage, multi-walk games, in fact. You got to sneak him in there and pinch hit him. Get a closer to challenge him with a fastball.
And a hitter's count to Dietrich. He takes low, 3-0. It was Biddle that started the inning. He gave up the 2 hits. Brian Snitker wasted no time, went to his closer. Popped him into a save situation with the tying run on deck. Got the strikeout of Brinson before giving up the home run to Bour. And now 3-1. To first, Freeman knocks it down and gets to the bag. A valiant effort in the 9th inning, but the Marlins come up 1 run short to the Atlanta Braves, as Atlanta takes 3 out of 4 against the Marlins in this series. They'll head into the off day tomorrow, lick the wounds a little bit, and then get set for the Dodgers on Tuesday night. Still much more to come, as the Marlins Live post-game show is coming up right after the break.